Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Fitness Friday Posi-TIPS with Rachelle. Folks, we're on Fitness Friday. It is always the best day of the week. Gotta love it. Folks, today I am wrapping up this quick two-part series here on Marketing Revisited. I'm going to spend the bulk of the time discussing coming back from last week, revisiting a couple of at-home fitness manufacturer company examples, and wanted to kick this episode off. So see, adversity and overcoming adversity isn't an overt theme in many times of these episodes, but also just wanted to quickly highlight yet another example of adversity. And you all know I don't play favorites. And so this particular example comes from the NFL and the New Orleans Saints. And so I'm a subscriber to the New Orleans Advocate. And so on September 26th, I wrote this down to cite this as an example. So September 26th of this year. So we get the morning e-newsletters, and there's another one that comes in the afternoon. And it basically synthesizes a few of the articles just for quick access. And so the morning headlines read, and I quote, "Toothless Saints offense can't keep up with winless Panthers." So yes, folks, the New Orleans Saints are certainly in for some adversity this season. And so had to highlight that as we get started. Adversity comes to all of us. Drew Brees retired after last season. Lost the head coach. Sean Payton is now, in the broadcast booth now, calling football plays and things like that, adding commentary. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. But adversity, like I told you, it comes to all organizations, all individuals. There are no exceptions to that rule, folks. But delving on in here into marketing. And so you always like to start off with a few non-fitness industry examples. And these are something we're going to highlight, in this first one in particular that I'm highlighting. And of course, it's too small, you can't read it. But it's a business card for European Wax Center that opened up here. Oh, and let me go ahead and give the disclaimer. By no means, I am not endorsing, I am not promoting any product, services, or entities mentioned in this particular episode or any episode, quite frankly. These are merely examples. I'm not an investment advisor. I do not give investment advice. Nothing that I say in this episode or any of these episodes is meant to be speculative in that regard. But these are merely examples to highlight the points that I'm making. And so this first example here is from European Wax Center that opened up, and I went for the very first time there. They had a free eyebrow wax. And so I went a couple of weeks ago. And so that's obviously, the promotion they were running, and it's pretty common, I guess, and it was time limited. Come and get a free wax. And so then went and got the wax, but then they give you this business card. And of course it has the address and the location, yada, yada, yada. Strut with a free wax. First time guest only. Why? To stimulate trial. And that's what I was talking about last week. And I've certainly mentioned this particular concept in previous marketing episodes where new customer acquisition tends to be expensive. It's going to cost you some money, whether it's advertising, whether it's promotions, where again, free giveaways, things like that. And so first time guests only, good only or valid only for select services. Ask for details. And so when you kind of delve into that one sentence, the next sentence, valid only for select services, again, you don't want to be in this particular case, they certainly don't want to be giving away their most expensive services. Why? You're talking about your essentially it's costing you quite a bit because you're giving the services away anyway, but then you want to try to have some cost containment there and not give away the most expensive items. So, but on the back of this card, I wanted to highlight, and this is a very popular, and I know you've seen it in a number of the episodes that I've done on marketing this year. This is the last episode for the year that I'm going to be discussing marketing. I'm going to come back to it obviously in a series in 2023. But on the back of this card, it states, refer your friend and earn $10 in EWC, European Wax Center rewards. So referrals. I mean, this is a very big trend. I mean, I've noticed this certainly in the last 6 months to a year, just across industries. Very, very dominant type of, asking people, hey, you're satisfied? Refer your friend, refer your family. We'll give you this, we'll give you that, we'll give you a free service, we'll give you a gift card. There are so many different examples I could give you, but I don't have time, but just wanted to highlight referral marketing. Referral marketing is quite prevalent now. Because why? I mean, when we think about it just from a purely practical standpoint, having a satisfied customer in the fitness industry, a satisfied member or subscriber if it's in a digital space, word of mouth. We know how common word of mouth is and how powerful that can be. So if you have a member that is satisfied, that is happy, and that is referring people to you, in many cases, that can be extremely powerful in terms of influencing a potential member. So wanted to highlight referral marketing, referral marketing, referral marketing. Next, and I've highlighted it last week, an example of a Chase direct mailer that I've received a number of times over the years, and how that number is going from $200 or $400 to $600 if you open qualifying accounts in a certain and perform qualifying activities in a certain period of time. And how I talk about, you know, when entities within any space do that, it forces competitors certainly to take note, but in many cases to respond, again, with their own offers, with their own promotions. And this is an example of PNC Bank, where I received, this is the first one I've ever received from PNC Bank. Again, trying to get new member acquisition, sign up for an account, earn up to $400 when you open and use select virtual wallet products. Keep checking and savings right at your fingertips. And so you have all of this, you know, all of the lingo in terms of conditions here on this side, but just see very prominently featured $400. And you've seen Chase, you know, and other banks are certainly starting to have similar offers. But just wanted to highlight this as an example in a competitive marketplace, regardless of industry. When one player, particularly a major player, starts to offer promotion, sales, discounts, whatever the case may be, in many cases, their competitors are forced to respond, because it's either, you know, they could potentially lose out, you know, certainly from a new customer acquisition standpoint. And Spectrum. Highlighted Spectrum a number of times here, certainly in the last 2 to 3 years. Because why? We've got the major players, and I've highlighted their own marketing and direct mail pieces and things like that I've received from DirecTV and Dish Network. And I've been a previous subscriber to both services. But in 2017, I cut the cord and certainly just only have a Fire Stick, which absolutely is just perfect for me. My brother was so right when he bought that for me Christmas of 2016. I just didn't know how right he was going to be. Love it. And so, but Spectrum, so you got major players like DirecTV, Dish Network, and they're very, very promotions driven. I mean, I've shown you a number, for those who've been around for a long time, I've shown a number of examples over the years with their very aggressive promotional offers. In my particular case, again, they want to get me to come back, but certainly their offers and promotional offers are very aggressive, certainly for customers who've never subscribed before. And so again, new member acquisition, new customer acquisition can be very expensive. But also when a person leaves, again, you're trying to get them back. And so that's why I was really trying to drive that point home last week of just customer and member retention is so important. So if you can hang on to your people, that'll certainly, I mean, you just don't have to incur those additional costs of trying to get them back, particularly if they require like direct mail and some other things in order to reach them effectively. And so now Spectrum's got this offer, TV Choice, Spectrum Internet, and so they sent me 2 different offers. And so they've actually now have a money back, 30-day money back guarantee. And so they have all of these services and things listed, and say again, promotions to get, in my particular case, in this particular example, me to sign up with Spectrum. They have these promotional offers. Why? To stimulate trial, to get me to give it a chance. Right? This will be your particular offer for a certain period of time, and certainly something that is very, very prevalent. Certainly on the back of this, where the cost and the pricing is listed, no contracts, regardless of which offer that I were to choose. I would not have to sign a contract. Very, very prevalent here too. On this other direct mail piece, Spectrum, I mean, they come at me pretty hard. And so they've got this piece, Spectrum limited time offer, act now. get sales promotion, special promotional offers that are time limited. Why? To get people to act now or sooner rather than later. So you put a time limit on it and encourage people to act before the expiration date or the end of the promotional offer. Very, very effective in terms of creating a sense of urgency. Very, very important for promotional offers. Give them a promotional offer, discount, special price, and then encourage them to act now. Don't have an open-ended date where they can perhaps redeem the offer 9 months from now, because it's highly unlikely. Research has shown that it will occur at all. All right. So that was Spectrum. And so I want to glide on in here to a couple of fitness industry marketing examples. And so I had planned to just come back and focus on a couple of at-home fitness company manufacturing examples. But this one literally just came to me on Monday, and I said, you know what, I'm going to highlight this. I have family in town this week. That's actually why I'm back down here at the lower level. In the lower level, Rachelle Smith Fitness Center. Family upstairs from Louisiana. And so this Monday, watching Fire Stick, watching one of the, you can have the news apps. So we're watching one of the news apps. And so got an ad, and it was because I'm eating lunch. And so literally, it caught me off guard, and then I had to go find a sheet of paper so I could write this down. So there was a commercial for an ad for Edge Fitness. And so it probably took me like 5 seconds. And then it was like, oh, that's Edge. That's my gym. And I was like, I gotta find something. I gotta remember what's going on so I can write this down. So I was very, very good to see. And again, it's probably been there, different ads, a long time, but I don't watch a lot of TV, and when I do, it's primarily Fire Stick, and it's just, my TV viewing in general is very, very limited, but it was cool to see, my own gym here. And they were highlighting and I've highlighted this in previous marketing episode when I did this series earlier this year, where the tagline, better out there starts in here. Better out there starts in here. Very memorable, and giving away a free pass, and had the 1877 number that a person could call. And so that was so cool. But I was eating, mentally, and then too, is that it was just cool. It was just cool. I don't like to play favorites, but I have to give credit from the standpoint of recognizing that they do have, Edge Fitness does have membership advisors. All right. And so we have here is a hybrid model. So they have, membership advisors, of course, in the clubs, but they also are investing in marketing, and have done so. I've seen different marketing, throughout this year, and I've highlighted some examples. And so that's where you have you kind of have a hybrid approach in terms of how that's handled. Okay, you've got some organizations that just pretty much, if they've got a sales team, if they've got membership advisors, account managers in the club, they are not investing. They're investing very little in their marketing efforts. But so you have a hybrid model there, and then you have on the other end of the spectrum, you have like a Planet Fitness, which I'm going to highlight in a second, just to highlight yet another example, a non-at-home fitness example. Didn't want to be biased towards my own gym. Wanted to give another example, being Planet Fitness, which is very exclusively marketing driven. All right, they don't have salespeople. They don't have salespeople inside their club, so. I just had to highlight Edge, and that just made me smile, because I reacted and I was like, hey, that's my gym. Oh, we're eating lunch. It was too funny. It was too funny. I loved it. But anyway, so here is the other fitness example, the other fitness chain example that I wanted to highlight. So we have Planet Fitness here, the ubiquitous Planet Fitness direct mail piece, $1 down, $10 a month. And now their new messaging is it's glow time. It's glow time. And so one thing that is certainly, they have it listed here, included prominently, cancel anytime. Cancel anytime. So I've talked about this, and I've talked about the cancellation concept, with all due respect. That is a very big issue in the fitness industry, and while it sounds good, and many, folks advertise that, in reality, it is not that easy, including, and to be fair, including Planet. All right, they're on the perception research project that I did from 2017 to 2019. You see that across the board, across the country, regardless of entity type, definitely heavily on the commercial side of fitness clubs and studios and things like that. And so just wanted to highlight some of that marketing. So going to move on here towards the at-home. I want to go back and revisit the at-home fitness sector. We talked about just the headwinds and some of the challenges that this particular arena within the fitness industry is facing. And again, in 2020, I like to be balanced, because in 2020, 2021, when I was highlighting these examples, in 2020, when Peloton literally, I talked about this in an episode and highlighted, cited sources where Peloton could not keep up with demand. Demand was so strong. And so when the gyms reopened and things returned back to normal, so to speak, and then they began to face some headwinds and some challenges, adversity. I've highlighted that on a few episodes this year, and certainly wish all sectors, I'm pro fitness, so I wish all sectors well, but I want to be balanced. If I'm talking about the adversity that that clubs, brick and mortar clubs were facing in 2020 and 2021, have to be fair in 2022 and talk about the challenge, adversity, and headwinds, that the at-home sector is facing, these days. And so I want to come back to the 4 P's of marketing. I wanted to bring in or introduce that particular concept and just to highlight it in light of certainly one article that I highlighted last week, but also to utilize it to highlight an email that I received regarding Peloton this week. So when we think about the 4 P's of marketing, so important. Whether you're talking about laundry soap, introducing a new car to market, or you're talking about certainly a fitness chain or fitness gym, a gym or studio, whether it's private, public, whatever the case may be. So when we think about the 4 P's of marketing, so we have a product. And that's why you see things like, for example, Cheerios. And if you walk into a grocery aisle, you see, okay, the yellow box Cheerios, the original Cheerios. And then you see all the line extensions with the different varieties of Cheerios that you can buy. So see, there's been tweaks to the products, enhancements to the products, different flavors, different colors. And so this happens all the time, but the product piece is so important. And then you have price. What is the pricing of the product, service, whatever it is that's being offered? Pricing is so important because pricing communicates a lot of things, can communicate a lot of things to individuals. When you think about luxury brands versus discount brands, a lot of those considerations certainly need to be thought about early on in the process. Before launch, what is a marketing strategy? What is our pricing going to be? How do we want to be perceived by our target market? How do we want to be perceived by our customers? Because again, you think about just some of the old adages and sayings that you hear people say all the time. You get what you pay for. Well, yeah, you have to think about how can you build value? How can you build value? You charge more, but just make sure the value proposition is there, because people will pay. Even during tough economic challenges, yes, that things are tough, that things are expensive, and yes, they are. But you have to recognize that, for example, luxury car brands are not discounting their cars, at this particular point in time. Why? Because if they were to do so and cut that pricing, it would undermine their positioning, certainly from a marketing standpoint, from a branding standpoint. Whereas, hold on, we've been a luxury brand for several decades now, and now all of a sudden we want to switch and change our strategy and become a discount brand. And then in customers' minds, they're thinking, hey, what's going on here? What's going on here? So this pricing piece is so important. And I talked last year, and I remember I did the episode. I was down here, and I remember it. It was a Hot Topics, fitness trends type of episode last year where I talked about that. And I highlighted this club industry where the article was talking about how there was a lot of growth predicted in that high value, low price sector of the fitness industry. When you think about brick and mortar clubs, there's a lot of growth in that particular area, a lot of growth potential. And then that article pointed that out even then. And so your HVLs, your high value, low price chains like your Anytime Fitness, Planet Fitness, Edge Fitness. There's a number of different retro fitness. There's so many different examples I can give you. Certainly private chains, private clubs, pardon me, could fall into that example. So studios. And so again, high value, low price. And then you can also see too, during challenging economic times, how, again, the organizations, these entities that have and that provide and offer a high value, and then they're offering that, at lower price points. And during challenging economic times, you can see how attractive that would be. Not only, of course, in the fitness industry, talking about in terms of bricks and mortar type of facilities, but this is true across industries. All right, high value, low price, high value, low price. So that pricing piece is so important. And also too, just conversely, when I was talking about the luxury cars examples and how they can't undermine their branding and their positioning by cutting prices, by offering a luxury car for $10,000, for example, or $20,000. Okay, and then the reverse can be true. If you have a discount brand, once an entity, like a product service entity, has firmly established itself as a discount brand, to all of a sudden try to transition that vis-a-vis marketing campaigns, even marketing campaigns over time, extremely difficult, if not impossible. Because why? People will look at the product or service and say, hold on, this is a discount. This is supposed to be cheap. Now all of a sudden you want me to pay X amount for this? So that is the challenge, and it's much research has been done on this whole concept of competing on price, competing particularly on low price. Competing on, it may be tempting to think we have the lowest prices in town, but you have to recognize, and you see this happen all the time, where even the person that today has the lowest price, a competitor has come in next week or next month or next year, and bam, they've been undercut in terms of the pricing that they are able to offer. So now this other new entity has the lowest price. So that pricing piece is so important. How you price yourselves, it communicates value. It communicates a lot of different things. Just want to make sure you communicate value. Walmart, again, decades long, the vision of Sam Walton when he founded Walmart decades ago, was all about everyday, their strategy, EDLP, everyday low pricing. And so now for Walmart to all of a sudden become a luxury, or try to become a luxury retailer, luxury big box retailer, it's not going to happen. Customers would be just be so upset, and it would just be it couldn't happen. It just couldn't happen. Why? Because that discount positioning is too firmly entrenched in the minds of consumers in order for that to happen. So just think very carefully about the pricing that you offer. All right, next you have promotion. So we think about promotion, talk about marketing. Of course, the purpose of this whole episode and episodes on marketing I've covered in the past, various types of marketing, various channels. I mean, that's a whole, you do a 35-part series here. I could do a 35-point series here on marketing. I don't have the time to do so, but just promotions, marketing, advertising, direct mail. There's just so many aspects that social media, online, mobile marketing, billboards, outdoor. There's so much going on, email marketing. There's so many different components of that, but just the promotion piece is so important, particularly when launching a new product or service where awareness is low or non-existent. Because you've got to, again, remind customers, potential customers, over and over again who you are. All right, so they can remember. And it will take them down through that process. The AIDA model, awareness, interest, desire, and action, that I've talked about in previous episodes. So where all of a sudden they become aware of you, and then eventually they're joining your gym or signing up for your service or downloading the app, whatever the case may be. Lastly, placement. And another way to say that is distribution. Where and how will customers get the product or experience the product? Where is it being offered? And I talked about this in just an example here, and I'm going to highlight Peloton here in a second. But you think about Peloton, you think about Tonal. There's just so many different examples, and in tonal in particular. And I told you how late last year, I went to the Somerset Mall, the Nordstrom's in Somerset Mall in Troy, Michigan, and did a demo. With the shop manager, Sean Kelly, and just hands-on experience with the tonal. It was just a learning experience for me. I've done a lot of that. I just do that, of course, inside of learning about fitness and studying the fitness industry, but certainly outside. I'm very experiential. I like to learn, and probably one of the biggest takeaways that I had from that experience was just standing back and watching all of these people keep coming up to the tonal. Again, it's in an aisle, so it's in one of the main aisles of the store. And people were coming by and they were stopping and they were talking and they were interacting with it and asking questions. And so it was cool to stand back and observe that, and to see some people kind of walk up and think, and some of them actually say, wow, like this may be the answer. Again, people who've struggled with fitness in various forms and fashions over the years. And then they see this machine and they think, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the answer. So it was interesting to see that. But again, to recognize with an expensive product like that, just selling that, just hypothetically just saying, selling it exclusively online can be a tough sell, because for people are investing that kind of money, it helps for them to be able to see, to touch, to feel, to experience it, to ask questions, have their questions answered. That interaction, can be, not at all, it's not exclusively true that it has to happen, but it can be very, very important to have a person experience something so they can interact and learn and grow and just ask questions and things like that. Touch it, see it for themselves before they invest those thousands of dollars to purchase it. And so that's an example. When you think about the 4 P's of marketing, you think about the placement or distribution. All right, so tonal, they're offered in Nordstrom. You actually go there, you can buy it, and place your order. And then of course there's the fulfillment on the back end, but it's all right there. So, but again, Nordstrom, consistent with, again, you have an expensive product and you have it being offered in terms of being able to go to see, to experience, to set up an appointment, a demonstration at Nordstrom's, which is consistent with their image, the image that they are trying to project. And so that's that. So those are the 4 P's of marketing. I want to highlight here. Let me start off with the Peloton example here first. And so I received this email, so Monday, October 3rd, 12:13 p.m. And so the title of this message came from Hilton Hotels. I'm a rewards member. And so this email came that said, we're teaming up with Peloton, our partner in travel wellness. So now Peloton has partnered with Hilton. And so the email goes on to state, when lifting luggage doesn't count as your workout, it matters where you stay. And so there you go. And I'm going to read a little bit more, but I just wanted you to see that. I actually printed this out because I wanted you to see the visual. And so I'm going to go on to read the rest of this email. In partnership with Peloton, Hilton is putting wellness at the heart of every stay. Coming soon, by the end of 2022, we'll have a Peloton bike in every U.S. hotel across all 18 Hilton brands. Exclusive offer. Join Hilton Honors today, and you can enjoy a free 90-day Peloton app trial and discounted pricing on Peloton connected fitness products. Terms and conditions apply. And then there's a clickable link to learn more. And the end of the email concludes, and they actually show the inside of a fitness room, because I've stayed in enough of their hotels to know exactly what their layout looks like. Yes, they will be featuring a Peloton bike by the end of 2022, as they state. And so that's what you have here, over here. And so we think about, again, and we think about the 4 P's of marketing. We think about distribution. We think about how and where their products are able to be found, to be used, to be bought. There's several different certain ways that we can look at that. But so now, again, their partnership with Hilton Hotels gives them another distribution point in terms of where you can find Peloton. bikes. So Hilton Hotels, the entire chain of Hilton Hotels, and there's several of them. Hilton, Conrad, Hilton Garden Inn. There's just so many Homewood Suites. There's so many Hampton Inn. And there's just so many examples. But again, another distribution channel, and certainly in terms of sales and revenue for them, to find ways to get individuals utilizing and buying their products. So this was a new one. Came out this week. Teaming up, got a partnership going on with Peloton. All right, and now I want to highlight Tonal. I talked a little bit about Tonal last week and how some of the challenges, adversities, and headwinds that they are facing, and wanted to highlight. And I mentioned, in July when they had the layoffs. Talked about this last week. Not going to revisit all of that, but they had some layoffs, and then they certainly did the paperwork and their IPO, their IPO filing. We're getting ready for all of that back in July, and so I wanted to highlight the very first email that I received after that happening, and I saw that, and I said, you know what, the gloves are off. As one who, from a competitive analysis standpoint, I just saw that and I said, it's going to be interesting to see. Again, this is one thing, just privately owned and operated Tonal versus potentially down the road, certainly publicly traded, just very different scenarios, very different expectations coming. And so July 16th, 2022 at 2 o'clock, so I received this email with the subject of "And Unlimit Your Fitness with Tonal." And that's the thing, when you sign up for a demonstration, you're obviously, and I've highlighted this, and I've highlighted examples certainly in the last marketing series that I did, you were on their email list. So I get emails regularly, if not daily, it's every other day. And so from a marketing standpoint, and as I alluded to before, this is just following Tonal and Peloton is keeping me busy. Just from a professional, and certainly personal interest standpoint, I always like to choose a couple and just study. And there's so much going on, certainly with Peloton, but definitely also too with Tonal. So this email goes on to state, and here it is, the gloves came off quickly right after that announcement happened. Beats the gym every time. Tonal is the all-in-one home gym that replaces every piece of equipment in a traditional gym for less. No need to spend money on any additional equipment or classes. Tonal has it all. So you think about that positioning, very quickly, you can see from a competitive analysis standpoint where that shift happened. It happened pretty quickly. Against competitive strategy against gyms. Okay, trying to get new customers, new Tonal owners from the traditional gym space. All right, in the second half of this email, of course, and after that last statement of Tonal having it all, you see a clickable link here of Shop Tonal. But then they've got the numbers. We always want to highlight the numbers, just to be fair. And so it says, get the smartest home gym in your space for as low as $73 per month for 48 months with 0% APR. Learn more, clickable link, learn more. And so I want to highlight, again, some of the terms and conditions here. The fine print is so important. And again, I mentioned several weeks ago that Tonal had a price increase. And so it's actually included here in this terms and conditions. So rates are 0% APR and 0% down based on credit and subject to an eligibility check. For example, $3,495. Okay, that's the current price with the price increase. $3,495 purchase might cost $72.81 a month over 48 months at 0% APR. Membership, accessories, and delivery and installation not included. Payment options through Affirm are provided by these lending partners. Affirm.com/lenders. Options depend on your purchase amount and a down payment may be required. All right, so that price increase happened, and there it is. There it is. You can see their positioning. No need to spend money on any additional equipment or classes. Tonal has it all. Tonal is the all-in-one home gym that replaces every piece of equipment in a traditional gym for less. You can see that. They're getting, and that's, you think about there's some messaging there around pricing. So what are they saying? Hey, we're cheaper. We're cheaper than, you know, a traditional gym. And then again, when you read the fine print, you can see that $3,495 price tag with the additional fees that are not included in that price. And you can see from a pricing standpoint, you know, where things are and where things stand and what that price is, and certainly the totality of it once everything is included. So just wanted to highlight that as an example of how that shift has happened. And certainly there have been some other shifts, and I'll highlight these, some more examples of this in 2023 in a future marketing series. But just wanted to highlight this as an example. The gloves came off. The gloves came off right after that filing, and I could see it right away from a marketing, from a messaging standpoint. And that's why I often state I can just, when I pay attention to the marketing it various entities, it certainly tells me a lot, folks. So, and then lastly, wanted to highlight here, coming back to the article that I highlighted last week again, in light of the 4 P's of marketing. So this is the article that I highlighted from Boston Globe, and the title is, and it's Innovation Beat. So I'm a subscriber to Boston Globe, and so Innovation Beat, they send a newsletter, I believe it's like once a week or once every other week. So Thursday, July 21st of this year at 2:42 p.m. And the title of the email was Rowing Startup Hydro Hits Rough Waters. Not going to read it all, but just want to highlight a couple of parts. And so we have fitness startups struggle after COVID boom. So we talked about Hydro and in depth because it's, you know, based in the Boston area. And so I want to move on towards the end here, where I told you last week I'm going to come back to this and talk about it in light of the 4 P's of marketing. Well, a couple of components of the 4 P's in the interest of time. So here we go. I'm going to read these 2 paragraphs again. Meanwhile, in an effort to widen its customer base, Hydro released a new rowing machine 2 weeks ago, designed to address the barriers of size and cost that kept people from buying it. The original machine, which went on sale in 2019, cost $24.95, not including the cost of a Hydro membership, and the new machine is $1,000 cheaper. So what we see here is there have been tweaks on a couple of components. We think about the 4 P's of marketing, the product piece and the pricing pieces. So when you think about these 2 areas, so what did they do? All right, they had barriers with the older model, they had barriers of size. Okay, so what can they do? People found it bulky, it was too big. What are we gonna do? So they made some changes, but also they have a newer model. The newer model was $1,000 cheaper. So see some tweaks to that pricing, because I told you the pricing piece can make or break a product, depending on who the product, who the target market is. And again, you're talking about certainly appealing to a wider base, what they were trying to do. And this is something, certainly a comment that I've made as far as Tonal is concerned, is how I watched their marketing shift this year, go from elite to, again, the elite, Serena Williams, LeBron James, to everyday. And so again, when you do that to the everyday person, so again, you're looking to widen the customer base in that particular, by appealing to and by highlighting, certainly in their marketing, everyday individuals, everyday Tonal owners. And so, but the challenge with that is, with anything, and I talked about this a little bit earlier when I talked about the pricing piece here, and the pricing component of the 4 P's, is, you know, kind of once you have a quote unquote premium or luxury elite type of product that is expensive, and then all of a sudden, you know, for the everyday person, for an elite individual, they may say, oh yes, this is, you know, the return on investment is great, this is wonderful, and this is true across any category, you know, with all due respect to Tonal and Peloton, or any of the Hydro, with all due respect to all of them. But this is we're just talking about fundamental marketing concepts. So when you have a product that is from a pricing standpoint, has been positioned as premium, luxury, elite, and then all of a sudden when there's a marketing shift to increase the customer base, to make it everyday, to make it to increase the number of customers, and that's, you want to have some more everyday type of individuals, some non-elite individuals, all right, some non-wealthy people who may not consider, spending thousands of dollars on a machine is a problem. So you want the everyday person. All right, it's very challenging. It's very, very challenging to do that. And so that's why here in this particular example, there was a $1,000 price reduction. So they tweaked the product, and then they also made it cheaper. And so, like I said, rarely just you can have an elite. It's very difficult to have an elite product that is very expensive, and then all of a sudden you just want to appeal to everyone, who may not have the financial means or the resources. And certainly, in Peloton's case and other cases, the credit worthiness to be able, you have to apply for credit, and you may have to have a down payment. Some of these more complicating factors and issues can certainly make it more tough to transition towards a more general kind of mass marketing approach. With the everyday type of person who may see that price tag and think, this is way out of my price range. This is far too expensive than what I can afford. So that is the challenge there, and that's what they've done, certainly to overcome those challenges, made tweaks. The next paragraph I want to highlight here is Hydro offers a mode that allows people to use a machine at no additional cost, but markets the $38 a month membership as an integral part of the experience that should not be considered an optional part of purchasing. All right, so again, from a pricing standpoint, so they've said here, you don't have to have a $38 a month membership. You can still use it. All right, some other at-home type of products, certainly within that category, require membership, or it's certainly far better experientially. I've read, the anecdotal stories and examples, and certainly, testimonies and things like that of individuals who've owned them, certainly in their marketing, where they've highlighted these individuals, and they talk about how the classes and things like that just make the experience much better. And so that was a decision to say, okay, if someone buys the machine, would the additional $38 a month monthly cost be prohibitive, to an individual, potentially purchasing this machine? Why? Because, if they're already spending, thousands on a machine, and then to add that extra cost of a monthly membership, it can be prohibitive. All right, so lastly here, I wanted to highlight before I close this episode out, the new machine is also about 40 pounds lighter. So it can be shipped overnight with no scheduled delivery required. So there's a lot there. See, again, a tweak there on the product, 40 pounds lighter. So not as heavy, not as bulky. And so from a shipping or distribution, getting these machines into the homes, or wherever the case may be, places, residences, where I'm sure there's probably studios that have them too, and gyms, wherever these machines are going to be, housed and stored, getting them there as quick as possible. Because again, urgency is key. When people are spending thousands of dollars on a machine, and then they are told it will be weeks for them to get their product, sometimes that can be a no-go for people. All right, they're spending that kind of money, they want it as soon as possible, but also having that sense of urgency in terms of getting the product into the customer's home, wherever the case may be, where they be stored, is integral and important. Why? Because the longer a person waits, there's a potential of changing their mind. Okay, well, I'm going to cancel this order. I'm going to cancel the order. I can't wait anymore. I don't want to wait this long. All right, the same is true for online orders, and I've told you about. I've done some studying certainly in the retail space. If you think about curbside pickup, and how certainly from a fulfillment standpoint, how several retailers, I won't name who, but there's several retailers that just have metrics, internal metrics of how soon they want from the time a customer places an online order for that email or that text message to notify them, or that app notification to say your order is ready. Why? Because if it's taking hours, if it's taking a day or two, if it's taking a week, the likelihood of a customer canceling will go up. Like I said, I've done some research, I've done some work in this area, so we'll talk about, won't disclose any specifics, but that is very, very true. A sense of urgency is very, very important. Very important when you talk about fulfillment, order fulfillment, because people will change their minds. All right, and we've all been there. We've all done that. We've all done that. All right, and so lastly here, I want to highlight Hydro says it has more than 200,000 users, but it's unclear how many people have purchased its rowing machine. Anyone can download Hydro's smartphone app and access workouts with a $20 per month subscription. So there you go. There's an alternative. There's an alternative. So pay $20 a month, and you can have a digital subscription with the app. You can have a digital subscription with the app. And so that's certainly, they're not the only one that does that, but that's certainly a way to introduce an individual, a prospective customer, prospective owner, prospective Hydro owner, just again to get them aware of the brand, to get them a $20 a month if they sign up for that, get them experiencing the what the classes have to offer, the flavor, the feel, the culture. Do I like it? And that certainly can lead to some upselling, some upgrading opportunities. Eventually that person, again, because they've already been there, they've already experienced it, hopefully had positive experiences, and some will have negative experiences where they won't become future owners. But certainly those that do have positive experiences, there's certainly ways, and certainly over time could be, that can certainly be a pipeline. That $20 a month can be a pipeline to becoming or certainly purchasing or owning a Hydro in the future, folks. And so there you go. From a pricing standpoint, they have an alternative. Several entities, particularly during COVID, we saw a number of entities offering, use our app and work out for free and things like that. So this whole concept is certainly very, very true. But when you're talking about, an expensive product, it is so important in many cases to expose the individual potential customer or owner, expose them to all that a product or service has to offer so they can experience it. So when the decision needs to be made, okay, well, I've been an app user for the last 9 months, and then they get a mailer, just hypothetically speaking, they get a full color mailer in the mail inviting them with a special offer. Again, I don't know if Hydro does this, but I'm just speaking in terms of just being hypothetical. And this could be true across different products or categories. They get a nice, compelling promotional offer, and it says, okay, well, what about now owning one? All right, the person now has months of experience that they can really make a decision to say, reflect on that and say, I had some positive experiences. Yeah, I'm going to move forward, with the next step. But why? That started off with that $20 price point versus right off the bat saying, hey, spend thousands of dollars on this machine. See, it can be a slower progression, but certainly one that can lead to the result that, the folks in this particular case, Hydro want. So, folks, that is all I have for today. It has been cool highlighting marketing throughout this year. I always, I enjoy all of my episodes. But certainly it's always cool to highlight some fitness and non-fitness industry examples of marketing. I talked about the 4 Ps. I don't know that I discussed just the 4 Ps just separately as a concept. So this is the first episode in all these years where I've really delved into the 4 Ps, but the at-home market, at-home fitness manufacturing market is really, it's just some clear examples of that. And I just wanted to highlight them, certainly in light of the challenges that they're facing and how they're having to tweak their prices. And we see a lot of that, particularly with the pricing component of the 4 Ps of marketing. With the economic challenges and headwinds going on, you see a number of different entities across sectors and industries tweaking their pricing, and just doing different things. Right? Tweaking the products, in terms of shrinkflation. And it's been around for a little while now, but there's just different tweaks going on. And so when you think about it all in relation to the 4 Ps of marketing, it can become so clear, folks. So I cannot wait until next week's episode, folks. I'm going to be on hiatus, so just stay tuned until the next time you see my face. I'm always going to have some filler episodes in for you. But until then, always remember, I am positively passionate about your fitness, success, and marketing.